Welcome back to the Big Mouth Daily Live. And today we are asking, is Flashpoint and Justice League the same cause and effect? Let me explain this to you because I was thinking about this and I think this is interesting. Because I think that Justice League was supposed to be a soft reboot of the DCEU. They'd already drove Zack out. So to me, Justice League was definitely a soft reboot. The problem with Justice League is, of course, it's rushed. The awful CGI with Henry Cavill, the horrible green screens, and also Justice League is still canon to Batman versus Superman. Of course, this is a big problem to them because they try and get away with a lot of the stuff BVS sets up. So the cause of effect of Justice League is the same as Flashpoint, a soft reboot. Now, Flashpoint is a harder reboot. Now, can Flashpoint succeed where Justice League didn't? That's really what I want to talk about today, because I think it's quite interesting. It's clear that they don't want to start from scratch. There's a lot of reasons why they wouldn't want to start from scratch, because it's difficult. You have to cast, you have to recast, you have to start again. To them, it's an easier situation to do this. But rebooting the entire DCEU in one movie, of course, is going to take some grand execution. And, this is a big job for Andy Muschietti. So if he pulls it off, he's going to have the freedom of Warner Brothers, that's for sure. But Justice League was trying to do the same thing. There's no question about that. But they were naive in the way they went about it. It's about execution, right? Because partly they succeeded in a soft reboot in a way because they managed to step away from BVS. But everyone's asking, what about the nightmare future? What about those things? Your movie is still continuing from Batman versus Superman. Superman's still dead. You're still bringing Superman back to life. So Batman versus Superman is still there. It's still the devil on your shoulder. So that's the problem with Justice League being a soft reboot. And there's many problems with Justice League. Because it had problems, because it was clearly rushed, because it was clearly sloppy from nobody's fault but the studio's fault. I don't even blame Joss Whedon. He could only do what he could do in the short space of time that he had. So for me, Justice League was certainly a soft reboot for the DCEU, and it didn't work. And Flashpoint is exactly the same thing. And it's the way they should have done it. And I've suggested this many times when we didn't know if Snyder was going to stay, if Batfleck was going to stay, if Cavill's Superman was going to stay. Just use Flashpoint to change the things that you don't like. But still, it's about the execution. And if they don't get this right, then, it's back to basics, really, isn't it? And that's how I see it. So it's all about the execution, really. And look, it's a big thing. It's a really big deal because the Flashpoint movie can't fail. It hasn't got any lives. A lot of franchise movies have got 9 lives. A lot of franchises have got more than 9 lives. The DCEU, I think, has used up all of its lives because, we've had Snyder's movies. They worked for some people. They didn't work for other people. Then there was Justice League, which was an absolute catastrophe. And then what's amazing about the DCEU, the very next film, Aquaman makes over $1 billion. It proves that the market makes no sense because really Aquaman should have been a flop. Not because it's a bad movie. I think it deserves its success. I think it's a great film. But the point being, it shows that the consumer doesn't... Shabaya Abraham. Hey, Mick. Yes, hey, Shabaya. So what I'm saying is it just shows that, the consumer, treats things not as franchises, but as individual movies. Now, there are different rules for the MCU. You can make the shittest MCU movie and it will still make big box office. That's very interesting, although Ant-Man's box office is probably the lowest out of all the MCU films. So I still think there's a case over there at the MCU that they judge things per movie. In terms of Captain Marvel, for example, people thought they may get some clues for Endgame. So everyone came in. So it's more of a continuing franchise over there, and it's treated as a franchise. But I think the DCEU is treated on a film-to-film basis. It hasn't got the good graces of the consumer. It's not just going to let you get away with a poor movie. Now, we saw that with Wonder Woman 84, even though those figures have been hid and been made to look better than they really are, and Birds of Prey, where no one's trying to hide the fact that Birds of Prey was an absolute clusterfuck. Whether you like the film or not, the box office, the box office tells you that the consumer rejected that film and, rejected Margot Robbie's pretentious, third wave feminism ideas of saying that all men are bad and all women are good. So what Aquaman actually does, it says, you know what, we didn't like your last movie. We didn't like your last movie, but we like this movie. So I think what that says is, despite all the propaganda from some diehard Snyderverse fans, that if Flashpoint's a good movie and it reboots the universe in a clever way, and then they're going to get away with it. They're going to get away with it, and moving forward, they can do better. And because moving forward, what they need to do is have a more cohesive universe, right? Each film can be individual, kind of standalone. I think some films will be standalone and some films will interconnect more than others. So it just shows, Aquaman after Justice League shows that there were no hard feelings. They were going to support that movie, because one of the good things from Justice League was Jason Momoa's Aquaman. People liked the humor. People liked what he did in the film. He wasn't that prominent in the movie. He wasn't that prominent, by the way, in Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut. Actually, one of the less representation was for Jason Momoa's Aquaman, and still probably one of the most popular characters. I'd say The Flash, one of the least popular members from Justice League. Ezra Miller's Flash didn't go down well for a lot of people, and there's still people after the Snyder Cut who are not warming to him. So this is kind of interesting. I mean, don't be surprised if they change the actor for Flash as well, by the end of the Flash movie. Don't be surprised. Anything's possible. It's unlikely, but who knows? So basically, the same intent that was for Justice League, which was to create this soft reboot, it's the same intent for Flashpoint. They want to do it, but more in a clever, smart way, in a film that's not rushed, that's not cheap, that doesn't have 3 or 4 months to finish up. This is a film that's taking its time, that's kind of incentivizing the Flashpoint story. And I do think it's going to be very interesting here, because this is win or bust for the DCEU. And no one can say any different. With a lot of the Snyderverse fans baying for blood, they would want nothing. If this film fails, the propaganda will go up. And we know that. So this film can't put a foot wrong. It has to successfully reboot the franchise. It has to be a great film. It has to represent Barry Allen and his supporting cast of characters in the right way. It has to create what it wants to create, and then it needs to move forward. Of course, James Gunn's The Suicide Squad will create this good feel factor as well. And so I think that's a good start. But that's not, as I say, it's interesting what that film does in terms of the whole movie, in terms of where it puts the Suicide Squad franchise and the DCEU. Because the last 2 DCEU movies, for me, in terms of the fans, have been a failure. Most fans of DC do not like Wonder Woman 84, do not like Birds of Prey. They're the facts. Ronnie Dodge, morning, Mick. Apparently The Flash is filming in Glasgow next month. Wow, very exciting information. I wonder what they're doing there. They're definitely going to be filming all over Great Britain and the UK, so that's really exciting, Ronnie. And keep up with the information, because I miss all this information. And I'm a YouTuber. I should know this stuff. I'm surprised you lot even talk to me. I'm useless. Anyway, I'm not really much of an information gatherer of what's going on in films and shoot. I'll be honest. So someone's even left the chat because they're disgusted that I didn't know that. And so there's no question about it. That intent to reboot the DCEU was there with Justice League, and it's there again with Flashpoint. So they're pretty much trying to do the same thing, but what Flashpoint does, it makes things more final. They can choose what they want and what they don't want, but it has to work for the audience. You see, this is not really about pleasing the Snyderverse fans or not pleasing the Snyderverse fans. As we move on to Anne Sarnoff and the Variety hit piece, I think reanalyzing that piece, and I've read it several times, it was very interesting what she said. I think she's very bitter, and I think Warner Brothers Pictures are very bitter that they were forced to release the Snyder Cut, something they didn't want to do. And I think that was the moment. Don't forget the timing. She did that interview just before the film was released, when it was too late for people to boycott HBO Max. Why would they? They wanted to watch the Snyder Cut. She knew that. That interview was a statement of intent that you forced us to do this, but you won't force us to do anything else. We are not just going to cater to your fandom. There's no money in it. We want to cater to the whole fandom, to the whole movie-going audience. That's what she said. She wasn't trying to be toxic. She was standing there in a lot of ways saying, you know what, this is my moment to speak out. That's why she spoke about toxic fans. She was saying, listen, you got this film, but you're getting nothing more. And I'm talking for the whole studio, and we are moving forward. I'm telling you now the template of what we're doing. Now, we're actually asking you, please give us a chance, see what we have to do. That's her question to the interviewer. Ronnie Dodge, what I read, it's to recreate Burton's Gotham for flashbacks, apparently. That's very interesting. Where are you getting all this information from? Jesus Christ. That's very exciting, Ronnie, very exciting. Be careful of the internet, though. But, yeah, things like that are properly true. I actually sent Andy Machete a good luck message via Instagram because Andy limits who can comment on his posts. I don't blame him with all the toxic people out there. But hopefully he gets my message. Maybe he'll even follow me. Who knows? I'll keep you updated. So Anne Sarnoff's hit piece was more than a hit piece. It was a statement of intent that we've given Zack his trilogy. That's it now. We're moving forward. No, we have no intention of releasing the Ayer cut. We're moving forward because by the time we're finished, the Ayer cut wouldn't even be canon. The original Suicide Squad won't be canon. BVS won't be canon. Justice League probably won't even be canon. We're going to clean up this mess that we didn't start. Anne Sarnoff didn't create this mess. Walter Hamada didn't create this mess. The original head of Warner Brothers created this mess by bringing Christopher Nolan, a man who was not interested in running a franchise, and brought in Zack Snyder, who is like Marmite. Ronnie Dodge, I love Machetes. Barbara has replied to me a few times. Lovely lady. Yes, she is. She's very responsive to the fans. I want to see more of them on social media. I don't blame them not going on Twitter because a lot of people would attack them. I think this is something else that Anne Sarnoff was talking about, kind of the stuff that's said to executives and stuff on Twitter. It's not good and it's not healthy. So I'm a supporter of the Snyderverse. I'm not a supporter of executives being attacked. Let's be absolutely clear about that. So that's great. But yeah, and the proof of the pudding is in the eating. So I think that Variety article set the intent straight away that we are going to do this. We are going to pull the pin out the grenade with this interview. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. We are moving forward. We are going to give you something which we believe is fantastic. And we are asking you to come with us on this journey. And she says that, and of course, all hell broke loose. 1.5 trends for Restore the Snyderverse. They ignored it. Or have they? Who knows? So it's interesting. It's very interesting. They just have to make good content now. That's what they have to do. I think that's what's important. Because if you make good content, all the shouting and screaming from people will be silenced. Ronnie Dodge, yeah, going after executives proves that Anne is right about fans, in my opinion. Well, right about some people who do it. But of course, it makes the rest of us look bad. But bad people always make good people look bad. But it's irrelevant, really, because they're clearly moving forward with what they're doing. They have no intention of going back. And these things have to work. These things have to work for them. There's no room to maneuver anymore with the DCEU. If Flashpoint works, then it doesn't matter what anyone says, right? And I want to talk about the elephant in the room. People are talking about Walter Hamada not having a producer's credit in Black Adam. Now, I don't know if this is true or not. He is the president of DC, but there are different production companies involved with that one. So it wouldn't surprise me, although that's a New Line Cinema production. I would find it, I don't think that's true, by the way, but let them carry on. But this is a double-edged sword. If Walter Hamada hasn't got a producer's credit on Black Adam, that means if it goes wrong, it can't be blamed. You in the Snyderverse community can't blame him if Black Adam goes wrong, right? If he's not involved, if he hasn't got a producer's credit, it's not his baby. Do you understand? So that's interesting. I suppose if he's not involved, why can't Ray Fisher be involved? After all, he did say he wouldn't work under a production with Walter Hamada's name on it. But I can't see that being true, by the way. But we will see. We will see. It's a Warner Brothers production. It's DC. I would imagine the DC president would have a producer's credit. And I find that very, very unlikely. But we'll see. There's lots of people spreading shit. It doesn't really matter either way. People are clutching at straws. But it's an interesting rumor. So Flashpoint is really trying to do what Justice League did, but more artistically, more cleverly, more smoothly. Because Justice League doesn't really try and change anything. It doesn't erase anything. It says that was then, this is now. We've moved here in a brighter tone now. You didn't notice the other stuff before, that dark stuff, did you? Good. We can move on. And they didn't get away with it. They didn't get away with it because they made a sloppy movie, because they were rushing, because Joss Whedon couldn't make a good movie. He didn't have the time. And I think it's interesting. Joss Whedon was, involved with a huge franchise in Buffy and Angel, and they worked. Now we're hearing he couldn't be left alone with an underage actress, which is really, really bad. And I can't defend that, clearly. And I mean, although that's news to me, these kind of things from these people doesn't surprise me. So he's gone. Talking about Whedon is pointless, futile, because he's gone. He's not involved. You can talk about him till the cows come home, but it doesn't really matter. It's old news. So it's all about them moving forward and doing a good movie. Now, it's imperative that the Suicide Squad works. And I think with James Gunn involved, the master of hype, and it's clear James Gunn is going to be committing his future to DC and WB as well. And listen, they've already given him a spin-off, so they believe in him. They've already given Matt Reeves a spin-off because they believe in him. I think if you could say two projects are a foregone conclusion of success, it's Matt Reeves, the Batman, and James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. So that's how I see that. But of course, the internet's full of noise. Of course, everyone hated Ben Affleck being Batman before they even saw him. Do you remember that? Do you remember the hate for Ben Affleck? Do you remember the petition? Now he's the best Batman ever. Don't you think those people calling themselves Batfleck stans weren't saying they didn't want him before? Of course they was. When I first heard he was Batman, I was like, it was the same reaction when I heard Jesse Eisenberg was Lex Luthor. No way would I have cast Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. I think it's a solid, entry as Lex Luthor. But I still, even knowing what I know now, I still wouldn't have cast him. I think Vincent D'Onofrio is perfect. He was a great Kingpin. And he's the Lex Luthor from the Superman animated series. He's not. He didn't do it. I'm saying that's who he reminds me of. And he's such a good, powerful actor. And he would have been great. So, I think that Snyder did what Snyder does. And as I've said before, Snyder likes to trigger people. He's admitted it. He admitted it during the build-up to his Justice League movie. So he likes to upset people. He likes to wind people up. And as I mentioned the other day, he said, no one's talking about Aquaman. Well, they are, mate. They're just not being negative about Aquaman. That's the difference. And this is the kind of thing that Warner Brothers are trying to head to. I remember speaking to an executive from Warner Brothers after Suicide Squad, and he was just saying to me, they're just fed up of the negativity and they just want a feel-good environment around these films. And I can understand that. And Snyder's not about that. Snyder is about kind of triggering people, and he loves it. He loves it, and he loves everything that comes with it. He's that kind of guy. I respect his talent. I like his movies. But at the end of the day, you look at the fandom. You look at the people he aligns himself around on YouTube. Not all of them, but there are some toxic people that he goes to and have his ear. That says something to me. And when those people are fighting for his Snyderverse to be restored. And the studio looks at that. It confirms to them what they already think. Yeah, look at them. Look at what they're saying about us, right? They just want to expose us all the time. They think that's how they're going to get through to us. But of course, you're not going to get through to anyone. You won't trap anything with salt, but you'll trap a lot of things with honey. Basically, if you say please to someone, you'll get a better response than give me that now, you know? And this is the Snyderverse fandom for you. A fandom I support, by the way. I support the films and I support a lot of those people. But at the end of the day, they're not going to get what they want with the way they're doing things. But if Flashpoint fails and the Hamadaverse fails, then of course these lazy bastards will go back to Zack instead of rebooting the universe. So it's, this is the situation. Do these people know what they're doing or don't they? Are these people clowns, right? Well, we don't know. What I will say to you is that Ann Sarnoff and Jason Kilar are the top in their fields. They have built up streaming services, Hulu and BBC America and BritBox America, from nothing and made them successful. These are clever people. Jason Kilar and Ann Sarnoff are not clowns. And this is why Stanky put them in charge. These are the top people in their fields. So you may not like the Ann Sarnoff variety hit piece, but she's a very successful lady. There's no question about that. So that gives me an element of trust and faith and confidence. And of course, Walter Hamada has done very well with the horror universe over at New Line Cinema as well. So, it's pretty simple to me. These are people in the top of their fields. These are not the people from the past. And I know Toby Emmerich is there. Toby Emmerich has some wins and failures. That's the kind of guy he is. He's not a solid person. And I think they are going to get rid of him eventually, which is good news. So that's interesting. They just needed a way to do it. So hearing the rumors about him moving to Netflix, which he won't move to Netflix unless they're that dumb. But Netflix can have him. I'll laugh all day if he goes to Netflix. What do I care if he goes to Netflix? Yeah, diehard Snyder fans won't like it because Snyder's at Netflix as well now. He's got a whole franchise to develop over there. Not my problem. Marcus Walker. Morning, Mick. Morning, Marcus. How's it going? We are just talking about Justice League and Flashpoint having the same intent of a soft reboot for the DCEU. And here's the game now. It's the same game with different players. And so can this soft reboot or this hard reboot work? Ronnie Dodge, the article I found out about the Flash stuff was a Glasgow newspaper. I will tag you. Very, very interesting. Should we give it a read now, Ronnie? If you tag me in it now, I'll read it out. If I can read the writing and it's not got too many pop-ups, because I hate pop-ups. But yeah, so the Flashpoint movie is an intriguing project. Using Kiersey Clemens, actually kind of a very controversial person as well, if you look at her Instagram. But yeah, so we got Kiersey. So they're using these people so that Zack cast, some of them at least. So this is interesting. But because there's multiple versions of these characters, they can play around in it. If Kiersey doesn't work out, they can replace her. It doesn't matter. This is the kind of direction they're going in. Marcus Walker, yeah, I completely agree. It is clear what their intent was with Justice League 2017. Yes, the intent was a soft reboot without having the mechanics to say, we're deleting this, we're deleting that. They tried to slowly creep away from Batman versus Superman. It's like when you try and move the tablecloth and not move the stuff on it. They weren't successful. They weren't like that. They weren't fast enough and they broke all the glasses on the table. So this time they're saying, we're going to take all the stuff off the table, then just move the tablecloth off. We don't care anymore. They were trying to be gentle with us. With Justice League, they wanted to keep all the things in place, but because it was a rush movie, that was their mistake. Ronnie Dodge, done it, mate. Let's have a look. Right, Ronnie Dodge. Here it is, mate. Let's have a look. So if you don't mind, Julie, I'm going to read this out. So this is some Flashpoint news. So let's have a look at it. I accept. The Flash movie filming in Scotland could see Batman return to the streets of Glasgow. The film, which stars Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck as different versions of Batman, is filming in London now and will hit Glasgow and Edinburgh next month. Glasgow and Edinburgh will be used to recreate Gotham City once again in the upcoming superhero movie, The Flash. The film, which stars Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck, well, it doesn't star Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck, as different versions of Batman, has been filming in London recently. But a source told the Sunday Mail that the production will also pay visits north of the border. So in other words, the studio wanted us to know this. This is not a leak. Will also pay visits to north of the border, specifically to Scotland's largest city and its capital too, in June. Oh, wow. So that's next month, right? It is understood that the two locations will be used to recreate scenes from Tim Burton's Batman, which will appear in flashbacks. Keaton played the Dark Knight role in Burton's two movies in 89 and 92, and at 69 years old will be the oldest Batman to date. The Flash is thought to be based around 2011 comic series Flashpoint, which Barry Allen tries to travel back in time to prevent his mother's death. Very interesting. The source told the Sunday papers it's really exciting for DC Comics fans that film crews will be back in town. It's great news for Glasgow and Edinburgh that once again the outstanding architecture will be showcased in such a big film. Of course, it's not the first time Glasgow has played host to the Caped Crusader, with scenes for the Batman, the upcoming Robert Pattinson version, filmed across the city last year. So it looks like they're going to continue using Glasgow and Scotland for Batman, which is very, very exciting. Yes, that's a great thing. Thank you. God, how can I forget your name, Ronnie Dodge? Yeah, thank you for the article. So it looks like they're going to do some flashbacks. Now, this is interesting because, as I've said before, Michael Keaton's Batman, is it a new version in a new world because of Flashpoint? Or is it the same version in this world? Has this version that we know and love been just appeared in this new version? That's an interesting question, I think. So we're going to get some flashbacks. So what has he been up to in the past few years, since we last saw him in 1992? So this is part of the element of the multiverse strategy, where they're saying, whatever you've seen in live action and it has the DC stamp on it, it is now DCEU canon. It's not just about one Earth. Anything from all these different Earths, the Ralph Reeve Earth can be involved with the DCEU, Nick Cage's Superman, which we've actually never even seen. So they've got a bit of a freedom with that. Keaton's Batman, Krypton, anything, Smallville, it's all canon now. They can use whatever they want. And this is really, really exciting. But as I keep on saying, it's about the execution. And get this wonderful concept. If you get the execution of this wonderful concept, it will be amazing. Right, let's have a look. Done it, mate. Umesh Chikandra. Do you think Flashpoint will reboot Whedon Cut and continue Snyder Cut? No. What I think they're going to do at Umesh is they're going to delete the Snyder Cut and Justice League. So I think if they delete both, that's fair and nobody can moan. If it was up to me, I would delete Justice League and the Snyder Cut, to be fair. Because basically, as great as the Snyder Cut is, it's from a time that didn't work for everyone. It was a great film. You've always got it. I've always got it to enjoy. But let's if we're going to do a reboot here, let's do it properly. And the contentious stuff, let's just get rid of it. Snyder stuff, let's get rid of Justice League. And let's move forward. And whatever you love from the previous iterations, let's do it. Marcus Walker, will Sturgeon let him in? Oh, yes. Nicola's all about that, isn't she? I actually love Nicola Sturgeon. What a strong woman she is. A lot of time for Nicola. A lot of respect. Ronnie Dodge, Marcus Walker, laughing MOJ. Good to have a bit of banter, though, isn't it? I quite like Nicola. Maybe we should make her into a superhero. Some people may want to make her into a supervillain. Anyway, right, moving on. So, yes, some Flashpoint news there. And what I find really interesting, they want us to know things about this film. And they want us to know as much as possible, not spoilers, but as much as possible, that they're doing quite a bit with Keaton's Batman. He's in this. He's in this for a long time. And if you see the Flashpoint paradox, that version of Batman in this new world is in it a lot. And I think in this film, he's going to be in it a lot. And I think more than Batfleck. Batfleck's role is more of a mentor to Barry Allen at the beginning of the film. There's no question. I have no issue with Ezra Miller's Flash. Ezra Miller is one of the great young actors of this generation. I think he's remarkable in the Fantastic Beasts films. He plays a very dark role, and the journey that that character goes on is amazing. So he's a really good actor. Ronnie George, yeah, I love their filming DC movies in the UK. They filmed the first Wonder Woman up the road from me. Awesome. Marcus Walker, fingers crossed for Michelle Pfeiffer back as Selena. Well, it's things like that, Marcus, that get people excited. Nobody's going to care about 2017's Justice League and everything that went wrong. This is about fixing things. People make mistakes in life. Now they're trying to fix this mistake. And I want them to fix it, because even though I love the Snyderverse and the way it was handled and everything that went down with it was terrible, but I don't want to keep on beating a dead dog with a brush with no broom handle. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's done. The Snyderverse doesn't work for everyone. You know, there's some films that people love. People love Momoa. They love Gadot. Let's keep that. Let's learn from the mistakes of allowing people like Margot Robbie and Patty Jenkins to have too much freedom on a movie, because that hasn't worked for Hamada. And, you know, credit to him for giving those people that freedom, but it bit him on the arse, and he knows that now. So these are mistakes that have to be learned. So this is because Jenkins is not part of his team. Robbie is not part of his team. Part of his team is James Wan, David F. Sandberg, you know, Andy Muschietti. These are three directors and storytellers and creatives he knows from New Line Cinema. So I expect more of these people to be brought over. And that's a good move, because they're people he can trust, and they're talented, and they can put together what he wants them to put together. Look at the example of David F. Sandberg with Shazam. It worked. The trust was there. It worked. There was a feel-good factor. These New Line Cinema directors are very talented people. Make no mistake. Ronnie Dodge, Keaton is definitely a co-star with Ezra. I can't wait for their interviews together. Yes, it should be awesome. Again, once you see those two in interviews, who gives a shit about 2017? Ronnie Dodge, I mean co-lead. Marcus Walker, it is so hilarious to me seeing the same accounts on Twitter pretend they aren't excited for this. Surely every DC fan is losing their minds. Why, Marcus, come here. Maybe they're not actually DC fans and just Snyder fans. I've kind of already worked that out. So these are people with a pin, and they keep on trying to destroy what we're excited about. Don't let them. As I keep on saying, for the pie eaters at the back of the room, I love the Snyderverse, but I'm not robbing myself of this, of future DC content. I don't care about the company if they win or they lose. It's not about that to me. The other day, someone said, oh, yeah, I love all this stuff coming up. I said, it's pointless. Whedon's gone. But he said, yeah, but it makes the studio look bad. And I made the point to him, they don't care anymore. Whedon's gone. He's loose garbage. They've dumped him. He's probably in some subsidiary company working on something that nobody knows he's working on, you know, because that's how the industry is. But, and also, let me give you an analogy for the entertainment industry. So imagine if we live in a world of animated animals that can all talk, right? And there's this big farm called Farmerwood, right? So anyway, so this is an analogy to the entertainment industry. Anyway, the Farmerwood always talk about representation and inclusion, and, you know, giving more animals with spots on them, more representation at their farm. Anyway, they notice a corner of people on their own farm, or animals with spots on them. Anyway, a bunch of animals from another farm come on and they say, hey, we're spotty. Can we join your farm? Oh, no, we only represent and include spotty animals from our own farm. And that, my friend, is my analogy for the entertainment industry. Ronnie Dodge, I think it's great having horror directors doing DC movies. Well, there's a certain horror director that did really well. Do you remember a man called Richard Donner? Did pretty well with a superhero movie, didn't he? Marcus Walker, the studio has proven they just don't care on multiple occasions, like the 4K Justice League trailer last week and the sign-off hit piece. Well, imagine, let's put I'll get my words out in a minute. Let's put ourselves in Anne Sarnoff's position, right? You've come to a studio. There's a toxic situation. There's a mess to fix, right? And all you get is attacks and attacks. You've got a director exposing stuff all the time and an actor stirring the shit. It becomes personal to you. So you become toxic yourself. So you release this 4K trailer, not because you believe in the movie. You're having a laugh with the people that keep on throwing shade at you. That's why they're doing that. That's a personal message to sack that 4K trailer. You know, all right. You know, keep on talking about Wayne T. Carr. Go on, do it. Right. By the way, this is the movie. We're going to do a little trailer for it, 4K trailer. They know it's a piece of shit. We know it's a piece of shit. It's not about that. It's about saying, we're in charge, Mr. Snyder, not you and not your fans. Ronnie Dodge, I definitely think the Flash will blow people's minds, but some people will miss out in this insane movie. Do you really believe people aren't going to see this movie? You know, let's forget about it. People are talking shit. I've just been thinking about Leroy Kong. He said he watched the films, the Snyder Cut, 44 times. How? I don't know if Leroy's around today, but 44 times. Bloody hell, in the space of what, 2 months? Jesus, how has he done it? I think I've watched it twice. Not because I don't want to watch it more times, but it's bloody 4 hours. And I've got a busy life, right? I mean, come on, I love you, Zach, but I'm not going to stop having sex with all those women because of your movie. No, sorry, mate. And partying and drinking. Ronnie Dodge. Oh, no. Marcus Walker. I am so excited for this film. It is going to be a global event. I think they all are. And I can't say they're going to be good or they're going to be bad because I haven't seen them yet. But all we can do is cross our fingers because they have to work for them. There's no wiggle room here. All these movies have to work for the next 5 years. And this is why I think, if they actually do a Calvin Ellis, Superman of Color movie, and he's actually the head of his own Justice League and a multiverse Justice League with Grant Gustin in it, with Tom Welling in it, and Brandon Routh in it, this would be sensational. And this is why I think they are doing a Calvin Ellis, Superman of Color, President Superman. I think if they do that, again, people will quickly forget about what's gone on in the past. This is the clever way you do things. Marcus Walker, I'm so excited for this film. It is going to be a global event. I've already read that, haven't I? Yeah. So Calvin Ellis is very important. So I think if they do Ellis, and there's no proof, what we heard last week doesn't dispel any notion of Calvin Ellis. He's called Kal-El as well, right? Forget about how it's spelt and bullshit like that. They're all Kal-El, right? So people losing their shit. Ronnie Dodge, I've only watched it 3 times. It's a 4-hour movie. I wanted to watch it last night at midnight, but I started getting tired. It's a long movie. Emmanuel Cruz, did you think Superman made cameo in Flashpoint? I think there's going to be a Superman in Flashpoint. Which Superman it is, I don't know. I have great faith in Nick Cage is Superman. That will be huge. Brandon Routh's Superman, and I expect Tyler Hoechlin's Superman. Now, Cavill's Superman, I think if we see him in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, I think he's going to cameo in every single movie. Fingers crossed. Ronnie Dodge, I hope you get a test screening for the Flash movie, mate. Oh, so do I. I'm desperate for one, and I've got, maybe my luck's going to run out. That would be amazing. And it would be great for the channel as well if I could get that, because that is such an anticipated movie. Let's hope. That film is in production now. It's only been in production for a few weeks. So I think normally they shoot for about 3 months, or May, June, July, August. I think they'll complete shooting August, maybe September, October at most. Then they'll do post-production. So definitely by Fandom, they'll have something for us. Don't forget, Matt Reeves had a little something for us, and he barely did anything. But it'd be great to have an extended trailer. Look, they're going fully forward with this. So look, these are important things, not just for the studio, not just for the IP, but for the fans, so we can enjoy these things. We need to wash away the toxicity. And I mean, fandoms have got toxicity, whoever they are. The diehard Snyderverse fans will always be there to remind everyone what they did, but that noise will dull. and it will dull. And of course, it's very repetitive now because they don't have any new information. It's dead. Now, when Army of the Dead is released, their voices will get louder again. Oh, look at this, amazing. Look at this Netflix. You see what Zach can do? You see WB? It'll be blah, 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 but I'm just going to ignore it. Marcus Walker, I've watched it 3 times, start to finish, then bits here and there. That's awesome. Marcus Walker, October can't get here quick enough. Fandom will be crazy. You know, it was right to give another Fandom. It's right just to forget about Comic-Con for DC now. Just do it here. It works. It was a global event last time. And, you know, to do something like that on the internet was a huge win for WB. So it proves. Obviously, the Snyder Cut was going to be there as well. So there was a lot more people kind of hyped for it. But I think with the 6-7 projects, including HBO Max DC projects coming, let alone the animated stuff as well, and comics, of course, it's very, very exciting. So I'm really, really looking forward to it. And so we'll see who's going to be there. I think that leaked Matt Reeves Catwoman kind of chat he was having was made for Fandom or probably for Blu-ray extras. I don't know if that was leaked on purpose. But yes, October can't come soon enough. Ronnie Dodge, the biggest panels for Fandom will definitely be the Batman and the Flash. That they're going to be huge, and I think all the 4 films we're going to see next year, and Green Lantern Corps and all of this stuff are things I'm going to be interested in. And by then we could find out that Michael Rosenbaum's Lex is going to be in Flashpoint. Imagine if he's there. Brandon Routh's Superman, Nick Cage's Superman, as I've already said. These are really, really exciting things. If you're the type to get excited for these things. But if you're going to be bitter and, you know, sink your feet in, and that's up to you. I definitely don't want to tell people how to feel and how to conduct themselves. But for me, I'm excited. I've got the Snyderverse there. I can watch it wherever I want. Like I can see George Lucas's original trilogy. So it doesn't really matter what Disney do. I've still got George's 6 movies. I've still got the Clone Wars. I've still got Dave Filoni's animation there. So they can never take the good stuff away from them. Emmanuel Cruz, did you think they'll announce a Man of Steel in DC Fandom? I don't think they're going to announce a Man of Steel movie. I think they're going to be able to talk more to Ta-Nehisi Coates about hopefully his Calvin Ellis Superman movie. That's for sure. That's the Superman movie that's coming next. That's what they're going to be talking about. Now, with the multiverse strategy, we could have a Man of Steel movie announced, but who knows? Unlikely, though. Ronnie Dodge, I'm actually nervous for Netflix. I'm sure they have seen the amount of crap Warner Media have got from the Snyder fans. Well, here's the thing. Now, I expect Army of the Dead to get a lot of views and be very successful and be Netflix's top movie. If it was to go the other way and they were to cancel the upcoming franchise, yeah, there will be a lot of trouble. But I think that feels pretty safe because I think it's family friendly more than Zach's other stuff. With another prep time, the Nerdman. Good morning, mate. Or Hot Takes Tuesdays. Ronnie Dodge, Grant Gustin could show up in the Flash movie panel as a surprise. Yes, and I still feel he may be leaving the TV series. That's why I think they're bringing Impulse to the show. He could be the new lead of the show. Because I think that maybe that's more for a younger Flash to be in that series and the kind of audience that they want. And I think they can kind of see that themselves. But we can have the older Flash, which is Grant Gustin, who isn't that old, by the way. The guy is younger than me. I'm 48, for Christ's sake. Who am I to talk about people's ages? But I never imagine I'm 48. I always feel in my head I'm still 28 or something, which is nuts, right? Which is highly delusional. But I live like a 28-year-old guy rather than a 48-year-old guy. Not married. I'm in a relationship, but not in a normal relationship kind of thing. It's an interesting one. But Marcus Walker, Army of the Dead looks awesome. I think people just need to focus on the content and not the politics of the industry. Well, this is the problem, isn't it? We know too much for our own good. I don't care about all of that. I just care about watching good content. If you give me good content, I'll watch it. I don't care about what's going on, but people are starting to take sides. But it's just the people who have an agenda. It's the diehard Snyder acolytes. And, you know, I just have a laugh when I see them. I might even put a laughing emoji by what they've said, because a lot of the stuff is BS and a lot of people are taking them for a ride. There's a lot of kind of fake ass YouTubers, like new YouTubers, using them with fake rumors, like the lies about Henry Cavill and stuff like that. And that people were interfering with the Batman movie. You know, lies like that. They go, oh, yeah, look at this, the downfall of the Hamadaverse. You ain't got a chance. So give up. But never mind. But it's certainly, Army of the Dead certainly looks really interesting. I'm not really a zombie fan. I used to watch The Walking Dead when Rick was in it. But I am interested. It is Zach's movie, so I will give it a watch. And it's only 2.5 hours. Only that used to be the average length for a movie till Zach gave us 4 hours of a Justice League movie. But it was never meant to be exactly 4 hours. He did add a little bit in to stretch it that way. But yeah, definitely I'm going to be watching Army of the Dead. And I think we should leave today's Big Mouth Daily there to give ourselves some energy for Big Mouth Live tonight. So I'm not sure what we'll be discussing tonight, which makes things really, really exciting. You can choose if you want. I'll come up with something as well. I'll have a headline, of course, as I normally do. Maybe I'll be wearing the shirt. Maybe I won't be wearing anything. We'll have to wait and see. So comment down below, like, share and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter @MoviesTVMad. And I will be back tonight here on Big Mouth with Big Mouth Live. You won't want to miss it. See you again tonight. Bye-bye. I'm back. If in the unlikely scenario the Hamadaverse does fail, those idiots are going to be insufferable. Yeah, that's a good point, actually, Marcus. That's a very good point. But I don't listen. Hopefully that's not the case, but they would be insufferable. So hopefully they have to do the impossible over at DC and WB now. Is not to put a foot out of place moving forward. And then we won't have to deal with these insufferable people. But we have to cross our fingers. Anyway, I'm definitely going then now, and I'll see you again tonight. Ronnie Dodge, I'm not the biggest fan of zombie movies, but I will definitely watch Army of the Dead. Yeah, me too. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if it's any good. If it bores me, I'll just switch it off and not finish it. We will see. Ronnie Dodge, hopefully news drops during the day. I hope so, Ronnie, so we've got something meaty to talk about tonight. Anyway, I'll see you again tonight with Big Mouth Live. See you again later. Bye-bye.